I recognize the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Biggs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for our panelists, for all of you being here today. Appreciate it very much. So I just want to point out to my friend from Georgia who has left the room that apparently 22 MAGA Democrats also voted in favor of the censure resolution last night. So I think that's important to get out. But be that as it may, I want to just kind of get into some of this. We'll deal with some of the anti-Semitism. We'll talk also about the anti-conservative bias in education. So I'm going to give you two personal examples. Number one, I belong to a church. I think it's the only American church that's ever been actually an extermination order was issued on by a governor, Governor Lilburn Boggs of Missouri, to actually give license to kill members of my religion over 150 years ago. I could, little bit. The other thing is, just to relate to this, we talked about the UN just a moment ago. So at 40 years old, having practiced law and tried literally hundreds of cases, actually representing NGOs at the United Nations and other multilateral institutions. By the way, there is no other organization I know that is so openly, anti-Semitic, in my opinion, than the UN. The Israeli representative was constantly ostracized and ignored and maltreated, in my opinion. Anyways, so I decided to go back because, being a lawyer at the international level, that was good, but being a PhD at the international level and a lawyer really got a lot of credence. So I decided to go back to get to my degree. Unafraid, very conservative, but the one thing I know is when I was on that campus in Arizona, by the way, somebody mentioned that I was graduated from elite universities. I can't wait to tell ASU and U of A and BYU, they're considered elite by some congressional witnesses. But the point is, as I was there, I had to duck and hide my beliefs because the professors they held you. You're sitting in a master's degree or PhD class in seminar. How could I express my thoughts knowing that a grade below a B because the professor disagrees with me? And I experienced that. They control your destiny. So I want to ask to our three students, tell us a little bit. We'll start with you, Ms. Silberstein, Ms. Jordan, and Mr. Ogrizjak. Is that how you say it? Close enough? A little bit about whether the administration or the institution of whether it's Cornell, Iowa, or Buffalo, did anything to hinder your identity as a student or your beliefs or your, let's just go with that.
Thank you, Congressman. As for Cornell, in the case of anti-Semitism, following the massacre on October 7th, President Pollock issued a statement in which she essentially conflated the horrific massacre of Jews on that day with various natural disasters occurring in the world, such as an earthquake in Afghanistan, which was extremely baffling, tone-deaf, and insensitive, and truly hurtful to the Jewish community on campus. Now, many incidents, as I've mentioned, have occurred since then in which the Jewish students at Cornell have been threatened repeatedly, most recently with a student's comments posted online to directly go after and attack students.
So when we have a threat, that is not protected speech. That is criminal speech. Was there criminal prosecution, investigation, arrest made in that case?
In the case of the student who was just arrested?
Yes, tell us.
Yeah, so this student was arrested, I believe, last week, and he was arraigned. He is currently being held, and his parents claim that he made these comments due to his mental health issues. But regardless of any, mental health issues that could have caused these statements. It's evident that the sentiment created on campus by professors and students alike of pervasive and just widespread anti-Semitism and anti-Israel rhetoric has created such an atmosphere that has enabled him to make these comments, and that really fuels the fire within many students who may feel hostile to Israel, to attack Jews because of it.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired. I asked the questions of the others. May they respond to? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So our flyers have been torn down, our chalk is washed away, and we even had an advertisement sign for one of our speakers, Chloe Cole, stolen, and the police recovered the sign, but they didn't figure out, I guess, who took the poster. We never received that back. And this stuff has been ongoing, continues to go on, and it's obviously showing that there is an equal opportunity for our speech. The left-leaning students groups, they get their posters, like theirs are literally right next to ours. You can see the remnants of the tape and our poster design still there, but then their posters are completely unattacked. And like I have met with the university president, I've met with other staff members to discuss this, and it just seems like there's no move towards change. I've asked, I was like, okay, what can we do to at least let our messages heard so we can have people attend our events and hear different points of view? And I still haven't received any other options, because you know, it's a shame that we have to have different things be done so that we can have our speech heard. We should have the equal opportunity to have our flyers up just like other left-leaning students. We should have equal opportunity for our chalk to be unerased so that, you know, we shouldn't have to do something different. And also all these actions that these students are doing violate school policy. It's very clear in the handbook, and again, it still keeps happening. So I just would like to see something positive, like just us being able to stay represented without being hindered.
Thank you for your question. I was very fortunate myself to not face any academic penalty while I was still enrolled at the university. However, I was also a biological sciences major. Oftentimes political topics stayed outside the classroom. However, we did have those 3 professors that I had mentioned in my opening statement circulating a petition, you know, heavily protesting our Michael Knowles event, calling for it to get shut down. So I do recognize as well that while I was lucky, I did not have these professors in class. I recognize other students may not be quite so lucky. And additionally, it was very obvious that the protest following our Allen West lecture was mishandled. There was danger posed to students. This was widely documented through police reports, yet there was no apology from any university officials.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Gentlemen,